Hey guys, Chelsea here from Making Manzanita, and today we have a really fun video planned for you. I am going to be walking you through my top 3 Kreg pocket hole jig recommendations for woodworkers. So if you are a beginning woodworker or someone with more experience and you are shopping for a pocket hole jig and you're not sure exactly which one to get because there's a lot of options out there from Kreg, we are going to break down the 3 that we own, and they're all 3 different levels and price points, and we'll talk you through kind of which one works best for you. So first of all, I want to thank you to Kreg for sponsoring this video and sponsoring so many of the woodworking projects that we have available either on YouTube or on our website. And even though this is a sponsored video, you can trust that this is our honest recommendation. These are our real life experiences because we own all 3 of these, and we have for a couple years now, and we've used all of these on various different woodworking projects. So we can definitely talk through our honest experiences with the tools and share those with you and kind of give you some different pointers on all the different features and how they are different, so you can make the best decision for which one works for you. All right, so first of all, let's start with some basics. Pocket hole joinery, what is it? And why do we recommend it for most beginning woodworkers and even advanced woodworkers? So a pocket hole is an angled screw or an angled hole in wood, and it's used to join 2 pieces of wood together. And the Kreg pocket holes are angled at 15 degrees, so that's kind of they've figured out the perfect angle to get that pocket hole screw in all of their jigs. Drill the angle at 15 degrees. It's really simple, it's efficient, and it makes it really easy to join pieces of wood together for your woodworking projects. There's a lot of other joinery methods out there, and we've tried several of them, and we always come back to the pocket holes because they're quick and easy and they work really well. So if you're interested in getting into woodworking, pocket holes are probably something that you're going to try at the beginning of your journey, and you'll probably stick with it like we have. All right, let's jump in. All right, so we're gonna be covering 3 pocket hole jigs today, and these are the 3 we own, like I said. The first one, the smallest one, and the cheapest one is the 320, and you'll see it's in this little carrying case. Then we've got the 520 Pro, that's this one. It's like the next step up. And then the big one we've got over here is the 720 Pro, and we're gonna talk through each of these. These are the top 3 Kreg jigs that we recommend, and we have personal experience owning and using all of these on our real building projects. All right, so the big difference between all Kreg jigs, if you're looking, and there's other models besides these, which I'll talk through in a little bit. But the big difference between the Kreg jigs when you're looking at them is whether or not it has a built-in clamp or not. So you can see here, this has got a clamp. This one's got a clamp, but this little guy does not have a clamp, and you'll use an external clamp to clamp this into place. So that's kind of the big difference between the price points and the features. These ones have built-in clamps, the more expensive, bigger ones, and there are a few models that do not have a built-in clamp. So that's kind of like 2 types of the Kreg jigs, if you want to separate them into 2 categories. The thing that they will all have in common is they all have a drill guide with hardened steel on the inside. They will all come with a drill bit with a stop collar, and the stop collar will stop your drill bit in the exact right spot for the material thickness you're using. They will all come with a drive bit, which is this one, to drive your pocket hole screws, and it's a square head. And all of the Kreg options have a impact resistant polymer body, which is what this blue stuff is, and it's super strong. So those are things that they all have in common. They also all come with this little hex wrench, which you use to adjust the stop collar, and it has a material thickness gauge on the side, which is pretty handy little feature. All right, so let's jump into the first one, which we're gonna discuss, which is the big guy, the 720 Pro. All right, so here we have the 720 Pro. This is the most advanced Kreg jig that we own, and the most expensive, but it is really easy to use and comes with a ton of features, and I'll just quickly walk you through them. If you want a more in-depth video on exactly how to use this, how to set it up, that walks through it step by step, we do have that available for you. I'll put a link to it up in the corner here. and you can check that out. I'm going to go through this kind of quickly and just discuss the features. I'm not going to walk through the entire process of using it. So, all right, so it's really easy to use. The thing I love about it most is the automatic clamp, and that is something that is unique to just this jig and no other Kreg jig. And what I mean by that is this clamp does not need to be adjusted like the 520 Pro according to the material thickness, because it clamps down in place however thick your wood is, and it goes to the exact right spot, which I love. It just makes it really quick and easy and really efficient to use. It has an anti-slip surface right here, so your wood, it stays put once it's in there. This jig can be used with the micro drill guide, which we have somewhere here. Let me grab it. So here's the micro drill guide, and what this does is it will drill a slightly smaller pocket hole if you are using thin stock or narrow stock that's not as deep. So it's about 25% smaller, I believe, and you just kind of pop it into place. These little buttons will pull out and you can pop in the micro drill guide. So you can use that with the 720 Pro, and the 520 Pro also you can use it. It's a different model, but it has the ability to be used. One thing that is unique about this one, whereas the 520 you cannot use it, is this has a custom plug cutter, and it's another drill block that pops into place here, and it allows you to make your own plugs for the pocket holes, which definitely comes in handy if you're using a unique type of wood, because the plugs that you can buy only come in a few varieties of wood. So if you're using a unique wood, or you just want to save money and not buy the plugs and you want to make your own, you can make it out of your scrap wood, and so the wood is going to match exactly. And we've used it several times, and it's a great option. So that is only can be used with the 720 Pro. So if that is something that you're interested in, you'll definitely need this model. The other things I want to mention is this model can only be used on the bench top. You can't like pick it up and move it around and clamp it to the actual wood like some of the other models, which we'll discuss. So if you have a lot of room in your workshop, and you have room, like you have I use our clamp table. We also have a workbench. So if you have room for a bench top jig, this is a great option, but it is bench top only. And what you do is you just put in, here's the clamp that comes with it, and you just put it in the front here and you clamp it to your surface so that it's nice and stable. The other thing that helps with stability is this docking station. And this comes with these little wings here, come with the 720 Pro version. There's also a 720 without the Pro, and the main difference between the two is the 720 does not have the docking station, and instead there are little wings that come out on the side that give you a little more stability. But I definitely recommend the 720 Pro because it's got these wings. They snap up into place and just kind of curl in to stay up. And the other thing that's really nice is there's storage in here for all of your little accessories. The one other thing about the docking station wings is it has some material stops that you can add to the back here to allow, these are the wings. I don't know where my guides are. They're around here somewhere. We admittedly do not use this feature a lot, but what you can do is you can attach your material stop in here so that if you're drilling a lot of pocket holes at the same time and you want them at the exact same spot according to the end of your board, you can just have a spot added, or stop added here to the docking station. So that's another thing with these docking stations. The 720 Pro also comes with an extra clamp, so that's another bonus. All right, so we've talked about the bench top, we've talked about the docking station, the difference between the 720, 720 Pro. We've talked about the automatic clamp, which is my favorite feature. Two other things I want to mention is this is a great feature that is unique with the 720 Pro, and no other jig has this built-in storage on the bottom. It is so genius. I'm so glad they came up with this solution. I don't think I would have ever thought of this, but this is genius. So it has little spots for everything to fit into place, so you don't have to be searching around your workshop every time you go to use it. So you get two different drill bits, a 6-inch and a 3-inch. Your hex wrench pops into place here, and then your easy set drill bit with the markings on the side, and the stop collar fits into place right here, and everything snaps into place so you don't lose it. I love this feature, and it is one of the reasons why I favor the 720 over the 520, because 520 doesn't have any storage for your bits, so I usually end up searching around the entire workshop if I go to use the 520. So that's one thing I love. The one other thing I want to mention about the 720 Pro before we move on is this little area right here is a spot where you can put your blade that will hook up to your dust collection, or your shop vac is what we use, which helps pull out the sawdust as you are drilling your pocket holes, and it just makes it a little easier. When you're not using that, you don't have to have it in when you're using it. You can definitely use it without, but it just helps pull that sawdust out, so that otherwise the sawdust will get in your way, and sometimes it takes a couple of passes to actually drill your pocket hole. So that is something that is unique with the 720 Pro. 520 does not have this port for your dust collection system. So those are the reasons why I love this jig, and it's usually my go-to when I go to build and use pocket holes. You'll see in most of our builds, almost every single one, we grab this one, and this is what we use primarily when we're doing pocket hole projects for our woodworking videos. And like I said, I'm not going to walk through the exact setup of all this and all of the features, but if you want to check that out and you're interested in seeing more about the 720 Pro, you can check out our other YouTube video about that, and we'll go into it more depth there. All right, so this is a great option for someone that uses pocket holes a lot, like serious woodworkers. Maybe you have like an Etsy store, or someone that builds on the regular and you're always using pocket hole joinery. This is what I would recommend for you because it's so nice. But if you're only going to use it a couple times a year, I would probably recommend you going with a cheaper option, just to save some money. I love the features on this one, but the other options are a little cheaper. So that's kind of who should buy the 720 Pro. All right, let's move on to our next one, the 520 Pro. All right, so let's talk about the 520 Pro, and that's this one. You can see it's a lot smaller than the 720 Pro. It's a little more portable. It is at a lower price point, so it saves you a little money, and it's really versatile. Kreg calls this their most versatile pocket hole jig, and I would have to agree. And the main reason for the versatility is because you can use this either on your bench top. You can clamp it into place similarly like the 720, so you would just clamp this to your workbench, or you can, it's portable, it's handheld, it's very lightweight, and you can clamp it to your workpiece, or you can take it in when you're using it for repair around your house or in the backyard. You can take it with you. It's very small and portable, so that's why it's so versatile. Now, there is one extra step that you need to do when you're using the 520 versus the 720. So after you get your drill bit set, which you always need to do when you're doing pocket holes, there's one more step to set up the actual jig in order to use it, and that is adjusting your drill block according to your material thickness. It's really easy, although it is one more step, it makes it slightly more inefficient, but I mean, this takes like 10 seconds, so it's not that big of a deal. You just move this up and down according to your material thickness. So this, you have to set up every single time you use it. And the other thing that I love about the 720 and that automatic clamp is you can switch between different material thicknesses on without making any changes, whereas this, you would have to change this every time. Like if you're using a 2x4 and then you go back to like a 1x2, you would have to change the drill block when you go between the different material thickness. So it's one more thing to remember. Like I mentioned, you can use the micro drill guide. You'll just snap it into place similarly like the 720 Pro, and you can drill smaller pocket holes with this. It's a different model drill block, so you'll have to buy the one that is for the 500 series, not the 700 series, but you can use it for this jig, which is great. The one thing you can't use, which I mentioned when I was talking about the 720, is you cannot use the custom plug cutter. So if making your own plugs for pocket holes is something that interests you, you don't want to go with the 520. You want to get the 720. Spend the extra money so you can get that custom plug cutter. The other thing that is unique about this one is you notice here, there's no spot for your dust collection. So you cannot plug in your shop vac to pull out all that sawdust like you can on the 720 Pro. So just something to keep in mind if that is important to you, or you have a big dust collection system built into your workshop, this is probably not the model for you. All right, so those are the two things you cannot use it for. Other than that, though, it gives you the same results. The pocket holes are going to be the same. Yes, it takes an extra step to set up, but as you saw, that took like 10 seconds. No big deal. So that's kind of the big difference. It is a little cheaper than the 720. It's more portable, so if you ever work on the go, it's super lightweight. The other thing that I want to point out that is completely unique to this jig is this handle turns all the way around. How cool is that? So I love that you can find a good, comfortable solution for your hand, because if you're clamping this into place on your wood, you're probably going to want to hold on to this as you drill. And if you're getting into a tight spot, you could turn this around and find something that works best for you. So that's completely unique and a super cool feature that I do love. So I would recommend the 520 Pro for someone who is a hobbyist or an occasional woodworker, someone that builds, I don't know, 2 or 3 times a year, and you don't need all the bells and whistles. You're not doing it all the time. So that is who I would recommend this for, or someone that works a lot on the go, whether you're taking this with you for a job. I know when we were renovating a rental property, Logan used the 520 Pro a lot. He took it with him and was able to like clamp it into some kitchen cabinets that needed repair. And so it makes it really easy to take with you. So if you work on the go a lot, this is a good model for you. Or if you only use it a few times a year, this is a good model for you. Again, it's a little bit cheaper than the 720 Pro. All right. We also have a YouTube video completely dedicated to the 520, showing you exactly how to set it up. It's super in-depth. So if you're thinking about the 520 Pro, you may want to check out that video, which walks you through everything and will probably answer any of your questions you have about this jig. All right, let's move on to the last one we're gonna cover, which we recommend. It's a smaller one, the 320. This is the last one we're going to cover. This is the third jig that we own from Kreg, and this is the 320. And we very recently did a YouTube video, and it covered this entire jig in depth, exactly how to use it. So if you're interested in that one, or in this jig, you definitely want to check out that video, because I walk you through all the features and step by step show you exactly how to use it. But this one, you can see, is a whole lot smaller, and although it is small, it is mighty, and it performs, you get the same pocket holes. This is a lot cheaper. We're talking like $110 cheaper than the 720 Pro. So if you're on a budget, this is a great option for you. You can still get the pocket holes, but you can save a lot of money if money is tight. And the other good thing is it's super tiny. I mean, look at how small this is. It like is as big as my tiny little hand. So if you have a small workshop, you don't have a lot of room, or you have to take everything out, you're maybe building in your driveway or something, this is a great option because it's so small and lightweight and you don't need a ton of storage. The other thing I love is it comes with this carrying case, and you can keep everything all in one place, so you're not searching around your workshop for all the little accessories and drill bits that you need. So that's another thing I love about this. Okay, so you will notice the big difference, like I mentioned, is there's no clamp. There's no clamp anywhere on this. You have to use an external clamp to clamp this to your workpiece. So we have this Kreg clamp table. I usually use one of these Kreg clamps to clamp it into place down on a flat surface. But any type of clamp will work. You don't need to have a Kreg clamp. Anything you have around your workshop, you'll just want to clamp it into place on your workpiece right there. So that is one very unique feature. There is no built-in clamp on this small little jig. So the other unique feature is that it has a twist apart drill guide, which makes it great for repairs, or just it makes it very versatile. So I'll show you how to use this. It's really cool. So pull down on what you want to change. This kind of snaps apart. You can take this spacer out and make your pocket holes closer together, which is what I did when I was demonstrating this on our last YouTube video. I was using a small piece of wood that was only 2 inches wide, so I took this drill guide out or spacer out, and I made my 2 drill guides close together. So that's one thing. Or if you wanted to make them wider, you could add another spacer in here. It's sold separately. You can buy these spacers. So that is one very unique feature about the 320, is that twist apart method, which I love, and it's really easy to use. The other thing is you do need to make some adjustments, not only on your stop collar, when you, like you always do, you'll move that stop color according to your material thickness, but you need to make some adjustments on the actual jig, and that is with these material stops. So these move up and down, and there's a little indicator on the front here, and you'll see those familiar settings: 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, and 1.5 inch, and you will move these up and down according to whatever material thickness you are using. If I was using 2x4s, I would move them down here, and this is where your wood would stop when you're clamping it into place, so you get the correct spacing for your material thickness, so your pocket holes are set up in the exact right spot. So you can see, although there's some additional setup on the jig, it only took me a few seconds to do that. So it is a little less efficient, but doesn't add a ton of time to your workflow, which is great. The other really cool thing that you can use this for is you do not actually need to have a clamp. So if you're getting into a really tight space in a furniture repair or a home repair situation and you can't fit a clamp in there, what you can do, there's a little hole here, and you can actually screw this into place with a screw so that it holds it in the right spot, and you can drill your pocket hole that way. Of course, you'll have a hole, but if you're in a repair situation, you could just patch that hole. But that is something completely unique you can't do with any of the other jigs that we mentioned. All right, so who is the right person to buy something like this? If you have a really small workshop, you can't fit the other ones. If you're on a budget, you can't afford the other ones, or you're only gonna use pocket holes maybe once or twice a year. This is a great option for you, and I highly recommend it. Anyone from a beginner on a budget, or just someone needing a really portable, small option. All right, so you have seen us discuss the 720 Pro, the big guy, the medium-sized portable option, 520 Pro, and the 320, the smaller, more portable, cheaper option. And these are the three we own, but Kreg also makes a lot of other jigs outside of these three, and I just want to quickly talk about those because you may be looking at these three and say, you know what, none of those are really right for me. So I want to just quickly go through some of those. I don't have them here to show you because we don't own them, but I've done a lot of research on all of the other options, and I can quickly run through those. Okay, so we have got older models. The K4 and K5 system, you may recognize those names. Those systems were discontinued in 2021 when they came out with these newer models. But there are a lot of those still floating around. You may be able to find them on Facebook or Craigslist. You may be able to find them on eBay. I found some on eBay when I was looking around. And Kreg themselves is actually still selling the K4. And I'm thinking, I know it's been discontinued for a few years now, but I'm thinking that Kreg probably still has some inventory because you can see it on their website, and they're also selling it over like on Amazon. So if you're interested in an older model, it's a little bit cheaper, you can find one of those, and they still work great. The main features that I kind of talked about today are newer features, so you won't find like the automatic clamp system, you won't find this handle that twists all around, the portability. So there's a few of the model, or a few features that are new on these newer models, and they definitely improved, but those old models still work good, and they're affordable. So that's one thing you can think about. If you want something smaller, maybe you looked at this and you said, that's still a little too much for me. I'm not sure the 320 works, and you want something a little smaller. They do have a couple other options. So there is the R3, and it's very similar to the 320, although I couldn't really find a whole lot of differences. It's similar in price and similar in style. So take a look at that one and see if it fits your needs a little better than the 320. There's also the 310, and again, it's like the twin of this. It's very similar, it's a little cheaper than the 320, and the big difference between the 320 and the 310 is the 310 will only come with one of these drill blocks, one of these, and it does not come with a spacer. So it's just the individual drill guides. You can drill your pocket holes one at a time, clamp it into place, and you don't, if you don't need the side by side. And if you wanted to do side by side, you'd clamp it, take it off, clamp it again, and drill your second pocket hole. So if that doesn't bother you, taking it and reclamping it into place and just having one drill guide, the 310 may be for you. It's a little bit cheaper than the 320, so you'd save a little bit of money there. And the very last one that Kreg offers is called the Kreg Mini, and it is the cheapest and the smallest option from Kreg. It's very affordable, but it takes a lot of the efficiency away that some of these other models have, because it has no stops at all on the drill block. So there's no way for you to push it up against something to get it the exact right spot. You have to manually do that, measure each time. There comes with a little guide, measure each time so you can get the drill guide in the exact right spot for your pocket hole that you're drilling. So it takes a little bit of extra time, but again, if you're only going to be drilling a few pocket holes very rarely, it could be a good option for you. It comes with the drill bit and the driver bit. So it comes with everything you need, and your pocket hole will be the same. You just have to take a few extra steps to get it set up. So those are some smaller options. But maybe you're looking at these and you're like a professional woodworker, or you've got a full-time Etsy shop and you're cranking these projects out and you need something even bigger and more efficient than this. The next step up after the 720 Pro is what Kreg offers, is called the Kreg Foreman, and it is more than double the cost of the 720. So we're talking about hundreds and hundreds of dollars. But it is, I kind of have envy when I look at it because it looks so cool. It's got a big bench that you can put your wood on, and it has the motor built into the machine, so you don't need your drill. And all you do is you put your wood down, you set the material thickness, and you pull a handle down, and everything else happens automatically. So if you're drilling a ton of pocket holes and you need to move fast, the Kreg Foreman could be the right jig for you. Doesn't really make sense for us because we're not like full-time woodworkers, but it could be something that you may be interested in, especially if you have a bigger budget for your Kreg jig. And the last one I want to talk about is one that we do own. Let me grab it real quick, actually. All right, it is the Kreg XL. And XL means what you probably think it means, extra large. So we keep it in this little carrying case, but look at this bad boy. It is so big compared to the other ones, right? Look at the size of that hole. Okay, so you can probably imagine this one is used for larger wood. So you can see there's two settings, 1.5 inches and 3.5 inches. So that means the 1.5 inches would be used on 2x4s, and the 3.5 inches would be used on 4x4s. So 4x4s, if you use these in your builds, something to keep in mind is none of the other Kreg jigs, except for this one, can drill pocket holes on a 4x4. So if you use 4x4s, you're gonna need this guy. But you can't do anything smaller. So you can't do anything smaller than a 2x4. So it functions very similar to the 320 with this little twist apart method. So if you want to only use one of these, and it works exactly the same as the 320 with these little stops right here. And then you'll also need a bigger drill bit and bigger screws, these guys right here. So you can see there. But these are actually, the holes that you drill are way larger and more strong, which is what you would need for drilling them on 4x4s. All right, so that sums it up. We talked about the 720 Pro, the 520 Pro, the 320, which are the three top pocket hole jigs that I recommend, the ones we own, and they're at various price points, and each of them work for a certain person. So hopefully this video was helpful to you, and if you're considering buying a Kreg pocket hole jig, hopefully one of these options works for you. If you are interested in checking these out anymore, be sure to watch our other videos. We have dedicated YouTube videos for all three of these tools that walks you through the entire process. You can check out our other woodworking projects. We have a special playlist on our YouTube channel that has all of our woodworking videos in one spot, so you can sit down and have fun and watch those. You'll see these tools on display several times in those tutorials. And then the other thing I wanted to mention, if you're interested in checking these out, seeing the price points and seeing where you can buy them, I have included all of the video or the links to the specific products in the video's description, so you can check that out. All right, so if you are considering buying a pocket hole jig, think about what kind of wood you'll be drilling it in, how often you'll be using it, and hopefully our summary makes the decision easy for you, but deciding between these three things. I want to thank you for watching today, and let us know if you have any other questions, or if you have any experience with any of these tools, or maybe which one you own. Be sure to pop into the comments below and let us know. We love to hear from you guys. And then while you're here at this video, please be sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss our next woodworking tutorial with one of these tools. And let us know if you have any other questions or suggestions for a future YouTube video. We would love to make something that you guys are thinking about or have questions about. All right, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. We will see you next time. All right, bye-bye.